ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode, we have a great news week for you this week. Three new news stories that I am excited to talk about. The trailer talk this week only have one new trailer, but it's better than the no trailers that we've had. I guess we've had some trailers in the past few weeks, but there are long stretches where we don't have trailer talk. At least there was for a long time. Anyway, we'll get to the new to streaming as well. It's the first week of the month, but it's a rather weak list for it being the first week of the month. We'll get to the what we're watching, of course, and then our main review for the episode is The Greatest Showman. But before we get to any of that, I am joined today, and as usual, with Nathaniel the Nefarious, Nathaniel Gingrich.
Is that my circus name?
Yep, that's your show name.
My show name. Well, what do you imagine me doing in this circus that you're building for us here?
Something nefarious.
Okay, fair enough.
You're a thief.
My teeth?
Like a thief.
Oh,
How
he
he says it in the
a
movie.
thief.
He says, I'm a thief.
I'm a thief. I could do that. Yeah, a pickpocket. There you go.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. All right, I'm in. What up? How's it going?
Good, man. How was your week?
Busy, but I got a hefty what I've been watching list this week. So
Yeah,
a bit of sizzle.
Okay.
I have one of my longer lists in a while, which is wild because I feel like I've been very busy, but somehow I've also watched a lot of things. So.
Same experience for me this week. So
Yeah,
be intrigued to hear what we got.
Yeah, bit of sizzle, I guess. I'm also joined today by Ty, the triumphant Tyler Vidalis, the birthday boy himself.
What's going on?
31, man. How does it feel? Do you
Same as
feel
30.
triumphant? Yeah, same as 30.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Had a pretty decent day, so.
It's good.
Triumphant day.
There wasn't
Triumphant
any lion tamers in this one. That's what I imagine Tyler doing in a circus.
I feel like
With a
that's just
chair and a whip.
I feel like that's his job.
Oh, okay. You think that's Jackman?
Yeah, because he's got like that suit on, and typically that's like the leader
Sure,
of
okay.
the ring.
The ringleader?
of the circus. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Fair enough.
So speaking of which, I may have a big cat fact about circuses.
No
So-
way.
I would
Yeah,
love to hear it.
surprisingly, I came across that. It might have been Tuesday or Wednesday. Just kind of read some stuff online and about nature and nonetheless, as we all know with circuses, most of the cats you see will be like lions or tigers, and you don't see jaguars too much. So that kind of went on to read about why, and I say jaguars are probably the most difficult cat to tame, and I think that's because they don't hunt by trying to suffocate their prey like from the neck. They usually just bite through the skull.
Whoa.
So they don't really have too much fear of anything because they have the strongest bite force
Got it.
for cats. So I think that's why they're really difficult to try to train and read by animal trainers. So jaguars will never be in circuses, fellas.
Big cat.
That makes
Blake
sense.
Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, just bite you right in the back of the head.
There aren't really any more circuses, aren't there? I thought like the last big one that was remaining closed down a few years back.
That was Ringling Brothers and Barnum
Yeah,
and Bailey. So Barnum,
the same one.
the man.
Yeah.
Yep.
And rounding out the squadron, of course, it's Big Blake the Bold, BlakeHolder.
Yes, sir.
What is your bold act here, Blake? What would you do in a circus?
Huh.
Lift some shit?
I don't know. It's
Some heavy
it's
shit.
tough. I'm
Yeah,
very
that sounds like
pro animal though, so
Sounds like-
I don't know if I would want animals involved.
Sounds like a strongman act, the way you kind of phrased him
Could
up there,
be.
Adam.
Yeah,
It could be.
definitely a strongman act. Or you could play up the bold a little bit, and you could be like, all right, I'm gonna lock myself in a cage with a lion for like
Ooh.
10 minutes.
Oh man,
It's
I
pretty
don't-
bold.
Yeah, I do love animals, but I don't know if I love them that much. That's terrifying.
Wait, could you grow the handlebar mustache?
I don't think so. I don't think I could.
Fair
Can
enough.
you? You seem like you can.
Yeah,
I feel like
Nathaniel,
eventually
you're
I
probably the
could.
most one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like Nathaniel has like the textbook like head shape for that. In my in my opinion.
That's a challenge, Nathaniel. I want to see it.
Oh man, maybe we'll see. I'd have to like
All right.
incorporate that into a Halloween costume or something at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. Start now. You got time.
That's true. Maybe.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, we can just get on right into the news here, guys. Our first news story of the day: Eddie Murphy signs 3-picture first look deal with Amazon. So he previously worked with Amazon for his Coming to America sequel, Coming to the Number 2 America, which got some good streaming numbers. It was the most streamed title in the U.S. the week it premiered, and so he's now signed on to do 3 more movies with Amazon. One of the upcoming projects being Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Oh,
Yeah. And the other 2 projects are unannounced, but will be done with Amazon.
Interesting.
I actually thoroughly like the first Beverly Hills Cop. It's like one of my favorite like childhood movies. I think that's from the 80s though. But I just remember it's always on TV when I was growing up.
Did he?
Yeah, I like. Go ahead.
I know they did Coming to America, and then I know they had also announced the sequel to Twins, but I don't know if that was with Amazon or not. But it made from the story you were saying, it made it sound like it was not. Maybe.
It's not mentioned here
Okay.
at all.
Then probably not.
But it's definitely possible. But yeah, I like Eddie Murphy. I'm glad that he's been coming back these last few years because he kind of went away for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's been fun to see him come back and do. He did that biopic. It was it was on Netflix.
Dolomite Is My Name.
Yep. Thank you.
Did you watch that?
I was close to it, but
I have not seen that yet. No, I do want to see it
Okay.
though. I've heard good
Yeah.
things.
yeah, I've heard decent things about it.
Yeah, I like Eddie Murphy. Good guy. He's funny. His stand-up is really funny. If you guys have ever seen any of that,
I
his
have,
stand-up
yeah.
from the 80s and 90s. Yeah, funny guy. So that's cool. We'll be curious to see how he does with some of those sequels to some classic 80s, 90s movies. So I'll support it.
Yeah. No word on when Beverly Hills Cop 4 is coming or any of the extra projects, but like I said, they're coming straight to Amazon. All right. Our next news story: Super Mario Bros. Animated film to star Chris Pratt and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yes.
The project is coming from Nintendo, Illumination, and Universal, and will also star Charles Day, Jack Black, Keegan-Michael Key, Seth Rogen, and more. This got some mixed reactions on Twitter, from what I could tell.
To say the least.
To say the least, a lot of people not happy that because Chris Pratt will be playing the lead of Mario, of course, but a lot of people not happy about that fact. And then it came out I think more people heard about the fact that it was actually animated, not live action. They were like, all right, that's a little more acceptable, but still not a lot of people rooting for Chris Pratt on this one.
You imagine Chris Pratt in a live-action Mario, though? How funny would that be?
Yeah, that would be a sight to see for sure. Tyler, as the original live action Super Mario Bros. Biggest fan, how do you feel about this new version here?
I don't mind it. Obviously, you can do a lot more stuff with animated versus live action, but if you shit on the 1993 Super Mario
Masterpiece.
Bros. Live action movie, I don't want your opinion on anything.
If anyone's curious, if anyone's curious about it, there's a great video on YouTube called Caravan of Garbage about the Super Mario's 1993. Go watch that. It's very funny. But
It's incredible.
yeah, I don't think anything could come close to that masterpiece.
No, at least not by today's standards.
How are you feeling about the casting of Chris Pratt?
I'm fine with it. Anytime somebody has a guff about casting, it's one half dozen of the other. They could have picked the most Italian guy. They could have picked a Joey Tribbiani from Friends, and somebody still would have been mad.
Do you think he does the accent?
It's gonna be animated. I'm sure he can come up with something. Either that, or they just won't come up with like a super Italian accent for it.
Yeah, I think
They're
it'd
just
get
looking for
annoying.
an animated Americanized voice to put behind it.
I think if they went with the actual like normal Mario voice, people would get annoyed like 45 minutes into this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely get annoyed 45 minutes
Yeah.
into this movie.
Charlie Day's funny. I love him in pretty much everything he does. So I'm totally cool with that.
Who is he playing?
He'll play
Luigi.
Luigi. Yeah, so the castings are as follows. Anya Taylor-Joy, or Chris Pratt obviously is Mario. Anya Taylor-Joy will be Princess Peach. Charlie Day will be Luigi. Jack Black will be Bowser, which I love.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, Keegan-Michael Key will play Toad. Seth Rogen will be Donkey Kong. Fred Armisen will be Cranky Kong. Kevin Michael Richardson will be Kamek. And then Sebastian Maniscalco will be Spike. Sebastian Maniscalco would probably be the next, if they went with an Italian Mario, would probably be my next best pick or best option, I would say. But
I don't know who that
like
is.
you said, he's a stand-up comedian.
Oh,
In
okay.
fact, he went to my high school.
Oh,
Oh,
all right.
He's
Okay.
from Arlington Heights. Yeah.
Local guy.
Yeah, but he's blown up. He's been in quite a few movies. There's one he's actually had a few live action roles as well. I forgot he was in one kind of Italian centered movie not too long ago. I forgot what it was though. So he's had some acting roles, but he's a funny guy too. So I like that cast a lot, especially Jack Black as Bowser, because I just watched a Jack Black movie, which we'll get to in my what we're watching. But overall,
Howl.
I'm kind of excited for it. This has a current release date of December 21st, 2022, so just over a year from now.
Yeah. I'll always
then-
support Mario. I like it. I
Yeah.
was very close to buying that Toad pillow we had at the store for the longest.
Oh yeah.
And I ended up buying like the banana peel one like 2 years ago. So it's upstairs in my room though, so I don't have video for it. But okay. Yeah, Nathaniel's got one of them. So
It's a Yoshi egg.
Yoshi egg.
yeah. So I'll bring it up on pod next time I'm in my room. I'll pull up the banana peel.
Well, I think you've gone on record on podcast saying that you'll watch anything with Anya Taylor-Joy in it. So I think you're committed
I
at this
would.
point, anyways.
Let's do it.
And then as far as the animation studio goes, it's going to be led by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic of Teen Titans Go and Teen Titans Go to the movies. They're directing. And then the screenwriter Matthew Fogel, who's doing the script, has done the Lego Movie 2 and then Minions: The Rise of Gru.
Yeah, it's Illumination who have done the Despicable
Correct.
Me and the Minions and all that good stuff. So seems like they're very definitely going for a Lego Movie vibe here, even going with
Yes.
like Charlie Day and Chris Pratt too.
Yeah.
For sure. I'll probably be checking this out. I mean, I'll be interested to see how this turns out. I could very well see this being a flop like the Emoji Movie. But I could also definitely see it being something that kind of breaks out a little bit more like you said, the Lego movies or
Pokemon?
yeah, I guess like
You
a
think
Detective
that's
Pikachu.
You gotta be a
something
step
like
above?
that. Are you comparing it to Detective Pikachu?
Right, yeah.
I can't really speak much to that because I haven't seen that yet. Ty, Nathaniel, I don't know if you guys have or maybe could speak to that. From what I heard, I feel like this will probably be on par, if not better than that. Hopefully, that's kind of where with this cast and with this kind of production, set, I feel like it has potential.
I think it'll be 50-50.
Yeah.
But I think Detective Pikachu is probably a good benchmark to shoot for. I think it's probably a good idea to
Right.
do it animated rather than live action, as we've seen.
Agreed.
Live action video game history isn't great. The 1993 Super Mario Bros. Obviously accepted, but yeah. What else you got on the list this week, Adam?
Yeah, well, our last news story of the week, which is also going to kind of transition us into trailer talk, is Army of Thieves trailer. Expands Zack Snyder's zombie universe. So this is going to be a prequel / spin-off of Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which we reviewed here on Pod back in, I believe it was like June or July. And this is not going to be necessarily a zombie film. This is actually going to be, it's described, a romantic heist movie. So the lead is going to be featuring the character Ludwig Dieter, who we liked a lot. And so Matthew, Schweighöfer, I'm gonna go with that. He's reprising his role, and he's actually also set to direct this one. Zack Snyder's not directing; he is only credited with the story, not even the screenplay. So this is going to be, I have to go again. Schweighöfer's film to basically let loose with. He's co-starring with Natalie Emanuel, who is Miss Sunday from Game of Thrones, and we've seen her in F9 here on the pod. How do you guys feel about this? Because I think, like I said before, we are all pretty positive about the Dieter character, but this is not necessarily the kind of sequel or next addition to that universe that I thought we were going to see, but I'm still kind of on board with this because it did get released with the trailer, so we'll talk about that as well. But where are you guys at?
Yeah, it seems fun to me.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a prequel type thing, right? So I mean, I don't know. I like Zack Snyder, so for it being, how can I word this? For it being a Netflix movie, I think I'd watch it. Right now, if this is something that was going to end up being like wide release into a theater, I'd probably pass on it, just based on like our thoughts of Army of the Dead, excuse me. But considering for what it is, I mean, yeah, I think it'll be fine. Not too sure who asked for this though. I think that's the bigger question. But considering we got it a year later, or 7 months later, whatever it is, like, fuck it, who cares?
Nobody. Zack Snyder does what he wants. It's his universe. We just live in it.
DC universe.
Yeah.
Tyler, what are your excitement levels?
Meh. I don't really know whether to be excited about it or not. It's just one of those things that may surprise me. But yeah, this kind of seems like the Netflix one that Ryan Reynolds did, Six Underground or whatever it was.
I think this looks better than that.
Yeah, so I feel like it'll probably be that level of excitement for me. It's just a ragtag team, everybody who's got a special skill, and you just do what needs to be what needs to be accomplished, or however he says it in the trailer. So I'm sure there'll be some funny bits, but other than that, I guess we'll see what it's like at the end.
I'm in. I think it looks fun. I think it has the potential to be a little bit more focused version of or a little bit more focused film than Army of the Dead is. But I'm excited to see what it's like. At least the costumes look fun. Looks like there'll be a lot of different globe trotting and funny situations. Seems like they have to break into 3 different safes, so that could be kind of cool. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. This is actually coming out this year, October 29th, so about a month from today, the day we're recording, which is a quick turnaround. I mean, they must have started production on this soon after they wrapped Army of the Dead, I'm assuming, if it's coming out within the same year. But we'll see. I don't know if we'll have time to review this. Our schedule at the end of the month is pretty packed already, so I guess stay tuned. Maybe we'll review it sometime down the road just so we have that universe covered if we feel like we need to stay committed to it.
Yeah, I'm cool.
All right. Sure. Well, that's going to be it for the news and trailer talk. We can now move into Adam Schwartz's completely subjective new to streaming list for the week of September 26th through October 2nd. For any
Best
new
list of
listeners,
the week.
Best list of the week. For any new listeners, this is essentially everything that's coming to the streaming services, the most popular streaming services that I have deemed worthy for you to maybe check out, or things that I feel like you might want to check out, because there's a lot that comes, but only some of it is actually worth checking out. To Netflix, we're getting A Knight's Tale, one of Nathaniel's favorites.
Always good to hear.
Yeah, that's always.
I like the pause for applause there.
Yes, every time. Oh, sorry. There we go.
We're also getting Gladiator from 2000, the Russell Crowe movie, which I've not seen, but I've heard. Yeah, that's one of those movies.
Get the fuck
think
out
I've
of
seen
here.
that all the way
Nathaniel,
through.
you host. I've
Hello,
had
everyone.
I've had it up to here. That
Alright,
was my final straw.
All right, why don't you finish out the list then? This is Tyler Vidalis's completely subjective new to streaming list.
I don't know. The show notes pulled up.
Yeah,
So.
that's what I figured. That's what I figured. Can't
Sorry,
pull 'em up.
I've
All right,
I've just started the music now, and this is now the new show. Just kidding. Go ahead, Adam.
all right. Also coming, Malcolm X, from 1992. Project X. Not to match those up, but they line
Hey.
up there.
Two
seen that
very
movie in a long
different
time.
movies.
Yeah, similar
Polar
names,
opposites.
drastically different movies.
20 years after one another.
Fuck it. May as well throw American History X in there too.
Great movie as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
another great one. And then we're getting Step Brothers, Titanic, and Zodiac. The David
Ooh,
Fincher,
there's another good one.
Jake Gyllenhaal thriller.
Ooh,
That is another good one.
That's a good list.
yeah.
Yeah, solid list.
I don't know. That might be enough to get me to rewatch Zodiac. That movie's just so fucking long, though.
It
Yeah.
is.
It is a lot
That
to
movie goes
take
on
in.
for a long
But-
time.
Like, it's also a good fall movie, I feel like, too.
I agree.
Yes. Yeah. Might be time to rewatch Prisoners soon, guys.
No, we've always established that is a post Halloween
Oh yeah.
or no.
I actually,
Go ahead.
It's a Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah, it is.
I actually thought of that the other day when I was like, oh, it was getting chilly. It was like Tuesday or something. It was kind of cold. But then I remember what Tyler said. I was like, yeah, that's definitely like I think what do you say? It was after Thanksgiving or Halloween or something, and then
Yeah.
before the holidays.
Right.
Yep.
I was
After
like, yeah,
Halloween.
I think I'll
before
hold off till
Thanksgiving.
then.
All right, well, that's it for Netflix. Amazon Prime, you're getting Sorry to Bother You. You're also getting A Knight's Tale, Bad Teachers coming there, Gladiator as well, Malcolm X as well, Observe and Report, and then they're also getting Project X, Step Brothers, Titanic, Tommy Boy, and then Zodiac. So a very similar list to Netflix's. Hulu, we're getting Air Force One, then Goldeneye and Goldfinger to prep you for No Time to Die. All 4 Hunger Games movies are coming to Hulu. So if you want to be like Ty and rewatch those, you can now. Mad Max, I think just the original Mad Max from what I can tell. And then Sleepless in Seattle. A bunch of Star Trek movies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first 6 ones. And then First Contact, Generations, Insurrection, and Nemesis. They're all coming to Hulu if you want to check them out. And then we're getting Total Recall. Let me check really quick. I didn't see if this was the original or the remake.
Oh my gosh. Hopefully it's the original.
And it does not tell me. So
Find out
let
for
me see.
yourself, folks.
Yeah, find out for yourself. Either way, I mean, I like the remake, but the original is pretty good. The original is a really good one.
The remake is one of the first movies that I got that was still technically Blu-ray, but it was like reformatted to be some kind of version of 4K.
Oh, really?
Like in one of
yeah,
those, like in
yeah.
between.
Like on the box, it was like reformatted,
Upconverted,
mastered,
yeah.
4K, but not really because it's a Blu-ray, 1080p. Awesome.
You still have it?
I think so. I don't get rid of much
Yeah.
stuff like that, so I'm sure it's somewhere around here.
Yeah.
That's not a good movie.
You don't like that one? I haven't seen it since at theaters, and I was like,
I saw it
13.
in a drive-in,
Oh.
and it was just so toothless compared to the original, I felt like.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, that's it for Hulu. HBO Max is getting All the President's Men, a favorite of mine, personal favorite of mine. That's one of my favorite older movies for sure. And then we're getting Argo, Bad Boys, and Bad Boys 2, all 3 Beverly Hills Cops, which is funny that they're coming to HBO Max when we just announced that the fourth
one's
is
going to
coming
Amazon.
Yeah, but hey, HBO Max making moves out there. And then we're getting Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Black Hawk Down, Blades of Glory, Hacksaw Ridge, Hitch from 2005, Moonrise Kingdom, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and National Lampoon's Vacation, Sherlock Holmes 2009, Super 8, The Invisible Man, Tim Burton's Corpse Bride, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and Up in the Air. That's going to round out your HBO Max list. You know, I might retract my statement from the beginning of the episode. This is actually a pretty good list. As I'm re-going through these,
Wow.
this has actually been a pretty good list so far. And then Disney Plus to round out the new streaming list as my page refreshes because something fell on my keyboard. It's gonna be Marvel's What If episode 8, and then a movie called Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales. This has something to do with like Darth Vader. It's like another one of those animated movies. The description of it was very long, so I didn't really feel like including it. But more Star Wars content if you want it. And then you're getting Maleficent as well.
Did you guys see they're doing a Muppets Haunted Mansion
Wow.
like special on Disney Plus?
No.
Yeah,
Didn't see that, but that sounds really interesting.
it's like the Muppets go on the to the Haunted Mansion from Disney World.
Not mad at it.
It seemed kind of fun. I love.
I
the
grew
Muppets.
up on like the Muppet movies and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
Muppet Treasure Island's the best, bro. Anyway, sorry,
it's
that just
definitely
popped into my
up
head.
there. I really like the Christmas one.
That one's really good too. Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's going to be it for your new streaming list. Let's get into what we're watching. I'm going to kick it off this week with Tyler Vidalis, the birthday boy. What'd you watch this week, man?
Dang, I get to start. Holy.
Yeah.
Happy
Funny.
birthday.
Not anything overly crazy. Leah and I got to manifest a little bit more. Still kind of cruising through that. Still keeping my interest, but still also kind of like, I don't really know what's happening. But like, I know what's happening, but I don't really know where they're going with it. But I guess we'll get there sooner or later.
It's just 24 episodes in a season, just brutal.
Yeah. So strap in. We're in for a long flight.
Right.
Funny. It's about a plane. LOL. No pun intended.
Topical.
I did, however, get back on some My Hero. I went back into Funimation and started that back up. So I am cruising right along for there. I think I did like 4 episodes or something like that in the morning before I went to go to work. Blasted through Star Wars Visions, which was great, which we can talk about. I know Nathaniel watched them. I know Blake doesn't care, and Adam, I don't know if you got to any of them, but we can obviously talk about it a little bit more. Nathaniel and I kind of already have off pod, so got through that, and then Leah and I finished our Hunger Games kick, so we did Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, I think in the same night. It was either in the same night or maybe it was like, yeah, either that or it was like right after one another. So yeah, those still are really good. Those still keep my interest. And other than that, we got another Grand Prix this weekend, which was great. Ridiculous finish and just kind of middle and start. The whole thing was just great. So really appreciate having a race weekend again. I hate when there's breaks. And yeah, other than that, I think I'm good.
Cool.
Yeah. We can go to Nathaniel because he also has Visions on his board.
That is correct. I watched all of Star Wars Visions this week. Adam, did you get to those yet?
I've only seen through 6, I believe.
All right. And
All
Blake
right.
doesn't care.
I didn't realize they were dropping them all at once, and I was like, wow, I'm overwhelmed. I need to take a break.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there, isn't there?
Yeah.
So what did you think of the 6 that you saw, though, I guess?
So I'll start this off by saying I actually went ahead and watched it in the sub rather than the dub. I don't know if either of you guys did. Just because I felt like it would fit a little bit better, and I honestly felt that way because I would, to see if I was doing it right, would go back to the dub and see how I felt about that. And it just felt right to me to watch those in the sub just because of that style I know comes from Japan, and they're obviously making it sub first and matching everything up with the sub as they usually do. So I liked it a lot doing that. And overall, I would say out of the 6 episodes I watched, 4 of them I really enjoyed. 2 of them were definitely more meh for me. But it all, regardless, it was still a lot of fun. And I think I when we talked about the trailer for this I talked about how I wish these were canon and wish they would, matter within the story. And I don't necessarily hold that position anymore because it's not canon. They were able to do a lot of cool things that they wouldn't have been able to do otherwise, which is the point you made. So I will concede you on that one, Nathaniel. And so yeah, they do a lot of fun things that are really cool that, like I said, wouldn't be able to do canon. And because of that, I had a lot of fun with them, and I think the studios had a lot of fun making them, and you can kind of tell that. But after watching these, I was just like, I think they should really go in to give one of these studios just a full project and make it a canon TV show similar to like a Clone Wars or something like that. Make it whatever anthology story Disney wants them to do, or whatever anthology story the studio wants to do, because this style for me matches Star Wars so well. As far as like anime and that kind of universe, they go together very well. And so I just wish this is kind of like, I hope this is successful, and I hope this shows Disney that maybe giving some money to a studio over there could benefit them getting a new kind of animated show or anime show off the ground like they'd had with Clone Wars.
Got it. Yeah, I would agree. Overall, I really enjoyed almost everything. I watched it in the dubs version. The only one I really wish I had watched in the sub version would be the second episode, because from what I understand, the song in the second episode is just way better in the subs than it is in the dubs.
It definitely is, because that was actually one of the things where I was watching the sub and I listened to the song all the way through, and I was like, that was interesting, and it was kind of weird, but I also kind of enjoyed it. I was like, I wonder how that is in the sub or in the dub.
I can't.
So I went back, rewound
it's
it,
awful.
And it's awful in the dub.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. So,
standout episodes for me, from what from I guess what you've seen so far too, Adam. There's a lot of them that I really, really like. I think the twins one, number 3, is really, really cool as this kind of like reimagining almost. If anyone that's listening that doesn't really know, Disney gave 9 anime studios, or maybe like 7. I think a couple of those studios got 2 episodes. 9 different anime studios, free reign to make kind of 15 to 25 minute shorts set in the Star Wars universe in their own style, non-canon. So each one's a different studio, which you can kind of see, and there's definitely different styles that come up in every different episode. I think it's a great idea. I think this turned out awesome overall. I think doing more of this can only benefit Disney. Also, a couple of the episodes, that, like I said, for me, that really stuck out. There's one with the twins, which is almost like a really weird reimagining of like Luke and Leia in some ways, I think. There's one with a village bride that ends really, really cool. I think has one of my favorite Star Wars moments that I've seen so far. Tyler, any cool ones for you? You haven't had a chance to speak yet.
Yeah, kind of like you guys said, the number 2 is just something that can kind of get pushed to the wayside for me overall. It's cool because if you've watched enough animated stuff, you really get a good generalization of what studio did what, and it kind of gives you an idea of like what you've watched on the American side that these have taken, or I guess that those have kind of taken influence from those studios, or if it obviously was those same studios. The first one was cool. The duel, I thought that was absolutely phenomenal. I like that art style. The twins one was pretty cool. I didn't overly care for it altogether, but it was still good. The Village Bride was awesome. The Ninth Jedi was awesome.
I enjoyed that one quite a bit too.
Toby, I didn't really care for. Like I was telling you, some of the audio stuff, which I think is the last one that you probably ended on, Adam. The audio kind of threw me off. I think they were trying to do a really good job with the audio, and I think they may have been a little overzealous by it. And granted, I was also wearing headphones, so that probably didn't help me too much. But yeah, I'd have to rewatch that one. But the art style is really good. You and I talked. It definitely takes you to an Astro Boy feel. And then Adam, you'll get to some of the other ones that I like, but you got like 3 more episodes. 7 is awesome. I think 8 is really cool too, and yeah, I like 9. Really, the only ones I didn't care for are 6 and 2.
7 is really awesome. That's one I think a lot of people are talking about as well.
Yeah,
looking on the
they do a lot of cool things too, like with the lightsabers. It's really cool to see all the reimaginings of like what lightsabers can do and what they're capable of. Like in the first one, you get the umbrella, and then like you brought up that I completely forgot, the bride one where it kind of flattens out in the hill, turns into like a more katana style versus like a cylindrical blade is very, very cool. So I'm a big fan so far. I hope they do more of this.
Yeah, this is something I definitely can see myself going back and rewatching too. They're a pretty manageable length.
Yeah, I think when you think about the attention span of the average person nowadays, and how often people are on their phones looking at shorts or reels or TikTok or whatever the hell you want to call it now, is 15 minutes is a really easy sweet spot for people to just get in and get out and kind of stop and then continue whenever they can.
Right. If only we had a streaming service for something like that. We could call it a Quibi.
Like a Quibi. Yeah.
Anyways, back to what we're watching. Sorry, a bit of a tangent there. So Star Wars Visions, definitely a big one. Got to a lot of shows this week. So I finished off Sex Education season 3. That ended well. I've already seen it's been renewed for season 4, which is good because I feel like that show should be wrapping up pretty soon, just like in terms of their timeline, because they've kind of set themselves. The first season starts at the beginning of their high school, so like they're getting towards the end of that. But yeah, excited for that. Season 3 was pretty fun. Definitely got a little bit more kind of melodramatic, like I was saying last week, but still worth watching. So we'll check out season 4 of that. What else did I get to? Saw the Grand Prix, kind of like we talked about earlier on the podcast, I think. That was really fun. Crazy race, so that turned out well. Also saw the UFC fights this weekend. That had an incredible fight at the end of it. I don't know if you guys saw any of the highlights from that, but that was really definitely worth the time of watching. I rewatched Inside at one point. That was just kind of something that we threw on. Always good for a good background watch. I got to a couple more episodes of The Wire today, which has been really, really fun. Blake and I were kind of talking about that a little bit earlier as well, but it's a little bit more genre-y than I guess I was expecting. Like it feels a little bit more like your typical cop show, but it's still really, really good, and you can tell just immediately in the writing, and
Right.
kind of like people's dialogue and the details that they go into, especially with like the Bubbles character too. It's just really crazy. You do feel like you're getting a real insight into that world.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you like that one as well. And I'm sure you ran into Omar a few times already. There's a young Michael B. Jordan I think we've referenced in there.
Yeah,
It's
it's crazy.
Ran into him already as well.
It's crazy just seeing all these actors that you just know so well nowadays, like all of their obviously pretty young Idris Elba as well. Michael Kenneth Williams or Omar has shown up a couple times at this point now too. The gentleman that we talked about from Paid in Full, he shows up, or he's a very big
Wood
character
Harris.
in it. Yeah, Wood Harris. Thank you. So yeah, it's been crazy, but it's been fun. So I also watched all of Midnight Mass this week. New Mike.
I was waiting to get to you this week to ask about that.
Yes.
That's Flanagan.
It is. And it is
Thoughts?
definitely.
You may be able to talk me into it.
Yeah, it is definitely worth the watch.
Okay, for sure.
I would put it Haunting of Hill House still obviously number one, but this one's kind of pretty close to it. I just had a great time with it. It doesn't end as strongly for me as Hill House does, and that's why it ends up just kind of right below it. But man, like it is pretty close to it along the way there. Definitely kind of hits those same levels of character depth and just overall strong writing, and has a pretty cool premise as well too. So and really just Flanagan's starting to develop just a really, really great sense of style to his work, and man, I feel like he's getting better and better too. So yeah, definitely worth a watch. Probably recommend. Feels like a little bit early in the fall for that show to me, to be honest with you. Like I feel like it should have come out like beginning of October, but we'll see. But yeah, if you're a listener, I think you might like to check out something a little spookier, not super scary, but definitely a little spookier, good vibe. Check out Midnight Mass.
Okay, and real quick on Midnight Mass, bro.
Yeah.
Is that the same kind of cast? As obviously he recycles a lot of the same actors.
Sure.
Are we seeing the same people in
Yeah,
this as
yeah,
well?
yeah. You'll
Okay.
definitely recognize a couple different folks from there. Obviously, his wife Kate Siegel gets a
For
role,
sure.
pretty big one. One of the gentlemen from Bly Manor, he played the chef on that show. I think his name is Rahul Kohli.
Okay.
He's really great. He shows up there a lot. One of the both the housekeepers from Hill House are in there as well too.
Okay.
The ones with the
Okay.
parents of the little girl, and then another actress from Hill House is on there as well. So yeah, definitely you see his crew show up a couple different times in there as well too,
Okay.
which is always
Cool.
fun.
Yeah, man. I'll certainly put that on my docket as well, for sure. Rare for a TV show for me.
Yeah, it's definitely and it's only 7 episodes, I want to say, so it's
Okay.
not too much of a commitment, to be honest
sure.
with you. Like I said, I cracked it out in a day. So, and then that brings me to the last thing on my list, which is my kind of fall tradition. Every time the weather starts to turn a little bit colder and it starts to feel a little bit more fall, I return back to a series that came out, and I want to say, God, it would have been like the early thousands, maybe. Blake, you might have heard about this, but yeah, 2004. So in 2004, Bravo, of all channels, for whatever reason, ran a 5-episode miniseries called The 100 Scariest Movie Moments. And this was like very formative in young Nathaniel's kind of film and like horror loving days. This is like one of the big things that was let me kind of get over being afraid of movies, of scary movies all the time, and like actually start enjoying them. But it's like a countdown from like 100 down to 1, and you get different clips of each one of the movies, and it's all these kind of different interviews and people talking about like what makes the movie so scary or whatever. But they the quality of people that kind of like we were talking about earlier with The Wire, the quality of people that they got back then and kind of like who they've become now is just insane, because you see people like Guillermo del Toro, Eli Roth, like James Wan, all these guys like at the beginning of their careers just kind of starting out and
Right.
like doing these interviews just as a thing. But then you also have like, I'm talking like legends like Wes Craven, Toby Hooper, like Stan Winston, John Carpenter, all of these guys
Right.
that I don't know if they just like thought they were doing it for a paycheck or whatever, but they have all these crazy interviews for it. So I used to go on the internet and find it every year and like watch it basically at the beginning of fall. And I downloaded copies off some server years ago, but I think last year I found out someone put it all up on YouTube. So now it's all there and available. It's not in like, I think it's like 720p, so it's not great quality because it was 2004, but definitely kind of worth a watch, I guess, if any of that interests you and you want to get in the Halloween mood.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that was what we're watching. I guess we'll go to Blake. Blake, what have you been watching this week?
Cool. Yeah. So I got to a few more things than usual. I've been pretty busy the past 2 weeks, but this week I made it oath to myself that I'm gonna see if I can get some more things on here. So I got to 2 films that I put off for a while, and I finally got to them. So one of them was The Hunt from 2020. So I got to that on HBO Max. Very similar to like a Ready or Not, and that's kind of one I talked about on the podcast. Now maybe 7-8 months ago or so, where it's a horror, kind of a comedy, dark comedy type thing. But it's good. I think I do like Ready or Not a little bit more.
Okay.
Have any of you seen The Hunt?
I have not seen it. Is it worth the watch?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, it definitely it's got some political stance in it, right?
Right.
And it kind of says some things, but in a playful manner. And it's just a horror movie, as I kind of discussed with Ready or Not, or Nathaniel has as well, because he's seen that. Whereas one you can definitely just like put on and like have a good time too, where there's laughs,
Sure.
good deaths, pretty gory as well. But it's not overly serious. It's not something you're going to be like curled up under a blanket watching.
Sure.
But yeah, pretty good. So that was one, and then the other one is one that I've really been wanting to get to, and I finally had a chance to get to it on Friday night, I want to say. and that's the platform. So I got that. That's the
Oh.
Netflix original.
Yeah, I've seen that.
From 2019. Okay, so you have seen it.
Yeah.
Adam, you said, "Oh, like I sparked something in your brain."
This is one I've wanted to check out. I just haven't.
Okay,
I just haven't got around to it, but I know of it and I kind of know the concept and everything.
right. So I got to that one, 2019 Netflix film. It's in Spanish, so the entire film you're gonna have to watch it with subtitles. But very good. It's a good concept of these people are in some sort of establishment with various levels. Each day, food is lowered down from level 1 to the bottom level, and people are just allowed to eat. So as you can kind of figure, the lower levels, there's not too much food left. So you can really see, like, I mean, it's definitely, I hate to use the political term, but it definitely is in a movie like that, right? Where you can see how, like, communism and things work. You can use the food as a symbol for anything. But it's a really good movie and really eye-opening just to see how the human brain works and how people, like, treat other people when they're in positions of power and things of that nature. So yeah, it's really good. I would highly recommend that. That's one I tried to get to for a while. Finally was able to spin it up. Not too long, maybe an hour and a half or so. But it is a commitment because it is subtitles. But very interesting, good character development, good story. Yeah, that's kind of all I got to say about that one. Did you like that one, Nathaniel?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty fun, a little bit heavy-handed, like kind of all of those movies end up being overall. And again, I think it runs into problems in like and how to finish, but overall, definitely kind of a fun, little metaphor, or definitely puts you into that, like, wow, what would you do in that moment, or like, could you get out? Kind of reminded me of, did you ever see the movie Cube?
I have.
It kind of 90s,
98 or something like that.
Yeah, kind of a similar vibe in some ways to that too, where the guy kind of just wakes up in the platform and kind of has to figure it out as he goes too.
Yep. Very true. It is very similar to Cube, which that's kind of one of the better 90s horror movies as well, which I don't think we've given too much praise to that one on the podcast either.
No, that's a fun one though.
I'm with you on that, yeah, for sure. But yeah, those were the two I got to, and then I got to what we had to watch for this week. And that's about it.
Adam, you ready to bring us home?
Yeah, we've gotten to some of the things on my list. Watch that F1 race, of course. That was a fun one to watch. Star Wars Visions. Nathaniel, Ted Lasso. Are you caught up?
Yes. I have been keeping up with Ted Lasso, as well as our What Ifs. I didn't have that one on the list this week either. I know Tyler said he didn't like that episode, but maybe
I don't think I watched last week's episode.
All right, well, maybe we'll come back to it in another week. But yes, I'm up to date on Ted Lasso.
How'd you like this last episode?
Yeah, I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was really good. There's actually a really good editing and storytelling moment that they have. I don't know if the one where they cut back and forth between two main characters.
I did not like that one as much.
You didn't like it?
No, I felt that it kind of took me out of one character's point of view. I was kind of having to go, okay, that character said this, and that's their story while it's tied into this with this line of this character, and that's still their story. I just found myself bouncing in between, trying to remember who said what to which story as much. And I just feel like it would function a little bit better if it was just a little bit more it was just a little bit more cut and dry. One character story, the other character story. But what did you obviously felt differently about it. Tell me how you felt about it.
I can definitely agree with that. It did take me out of a little bit, but at the same time, I was just watching it and I was like, wow, this is just great. Kind of a back and forth between two characters finally opening up about things that we knew about but haven't like known fully about up until this point. And I thought it was just a kind of a great reveal to go back and forth between the two characters. And I thought it personally it was very effective, and I just liked the editing of it. I thought it was very, very unique's not the word, because people have done stuff like that before, but it was unique to Ted Lasso. And I think for me, it worked pretty well in the way that they did it, just how they were able to cut back and forth, just their ties in between, because you can kind of fill in the gaps yourself. I personally really liked it, and it was a good episode overall.
Yeah, I think the content... Sorry, just to finish off our thoughts with that one scene. I think the content of the conversation is still really, really good. And I think it's a technique that I think works a little bit better in fiction or in writing, the kind of translating back and forth, just because you can just follow that a little bit easier. You have the visual element to help you. And not to say that they do it poorly at all. It is well done, and it ties together well. It just didn't function as well for me, but it did for a lot of people too. So, or it clearly did for a lot of people. So,
Yeah,
that's how it goes. But yeah, I thought it was a really emotional and cathartic episode. So pretty big revelations in some ways, and we'll see. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 more episodes this season.
I think there's only 2 left.
Okay.
I think that was episode 10.
So Tyler, you can finally
2 or 3.
get ready to watch all of them at once.
The old binge.
Yeah.
So good. All right. Kept up with what we're doing in the shadows. At this point, there's only one character that I absolutely love and makes the show for me, and he's the only reason I'm watching this.
Are you in season 2, you said?
I'm in season 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through season 2. I think I watched episode 5 last night, and then season 3 has 6 episodes out. I guess at 10, I think they're doing another 10 episode season. I'll probably just finish it out because I'm not like I'm not like hating the show. It's just like it's not amazing, but I still want to finish it out. And like I said, there's just his name's Colin Robinson. He is one of my favorite characters in anything ever. He's just hilarious.
Is he the like?
He's the energy vampire.
Yeah, I remember.
He's just so well written and out of place in that show, and I just love it. Anytime he comes on screen, it just makes me laugh. But that's been fun. That's been all right. I also got to School of Rock on Netflix. This is the Jack Black movie that I alluded to earlier.
Oh, yes.
This is probably up there for movies that I've seen the most, like most number of times. Because I just watched this a ton as a kid. My brothers and I loved it. We watch it all the time. So there are a lot of scenes in this movie that I can basically just quote, or I will quote in like conversation. It's such a good movie. It still holds up so well. I love Jack Black in that. That is probably my favorite role of his in anything really. Is that one you guys have all seen? I'm assuming, hopefully.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
No,
Nathaniel's
I've
shaking
not.
his head.
Yeah,
Ty, have you seen School of Rock?
Yeah, I said yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry
I've
to
never
hear it.
seen it.
It's on Netflix. It's a lot of fun. I love that.
It's Richard
movie.
Linklater, so I'm sure it's incredible. But yeah, it's just
Yeah.
one I never got to see.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Still laughing at all the jokes. Still holds up so well. One I almost kind of want to rewatch again because it's so good. But I digress. And then the last thing I got to this week for my film history class was a movie called The Heartbreak Kid, not the remake with Ben Stiller, the original. This week was all about, or I guess last week was all about New Hollywood, how Hollywood kind of changed around 1969 or so. It's kind of ambiguous as to where that shift started, but the New Hollywood style and how films kind of changed and started covering more taboo topics within them. And then also story structure changed and how you structure characters changed. So all that kind of stuff. So The Heartbreak Kid, old movie. So I'll go into some of the details. Essentially a guy who gets married and then while on his honeymoon meets another woman and realizes he's made a terrible mistake by marrying the original girl and kind of goes after this new woman. And
fun.
he's kind of an asshole. He's like an asshole to his wife, and you don't really root for the character, which is part of the New Hollywood style. Is sometimes it's like different protagonists and treating them in different ways.
Yeah, it's kind of the point.
Yeah, exactly. So it's supposed to be a comedy, but it was like, man, this movie's just making me really upset at how much of a dick he's being. So it kind of
It was a different time.
It was a different time. But yeah, it was still good watch. I've been enjoying going back and watching those older movies, getting some appreciation for them. So that was fun. And then, of course, I got to our review for this week, which is The Greatest Showman Welcome, listeners, to the main review segment of the podcast. Nathaniel, the listener here is new, or maybe they've just forgotten. Can you give them a rundown of how a review segment works? Here at Back Row
Why,
Banter?
yes, Adam, I surely can. If you are new here, or maybe you've just forgotten, here at Back Row Banter, we split up our main review segment into two sections. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the film's IMDb page, kind of give it its plot summary, what year it came out, who's in it, all that good stuff. And then we're going to decide, or excuse me, we're going to go around the circle, around the squadron, as we call it around here. Give our initial reactions to the film, whether we like about it, what we don't like about it, any standouts. And then we'll also decide, each and every one of us, whether we would recommend the film. Yes, it's got to be yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. From then on, it's going to be spoiler time. I'll play this sound. And we'll come back and go into any big spoilers or plot twists, kind of give our deeper thoughts about the movies. But don't leave us for too long. Do come back because I'll play this sound again. And then we'll see where it ranks on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we watched for the podcast ranked. Adam, tell me more about The Greatest Showman. Well, actually, Tyler, do you want to tell me about The Greatest Showman, considering this was your pick? We have a tradition on Back Row Banter around your birthday. You get to kind of pick a movie. At least, I guess, a loose tradition.
Very loose.
So,
No, I like when Adam does it, so he's more than welcome to.
Fair enough.
This is The Greatest Showman.
Appreciate the offer, though.
2017, rated PG with an hour and 45-minute runtime. Directed, of course, by Michael Gracie, who I didn't recognize for anything he's really
Pretty
done
sure,
in the past.
yeah, he's like
More of a producer, does visual effects stuff.
Yeah, commercial / music video. So from our side, he was Aussie, actually. So maybe he knows Jackman.
That definitely could be it. Written by Jenny Bix and Bill Condone. I did not check their IMDb's here, so let me see if maybe they've done something that we would recognize.
Bill Condon?
What'd you say?
Yeah, Bill Condon's pretty famous. He's done Dreamgirls, so Chicago. He's well known for musicals. Beauty and the Beast, the Twilight Saga.
Gotcha.
Breaking
okay.
Dawn.
So
4
that
and
makes
5.
sense on where the music side of things fall.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, at the time it was like a big deal because they had the same lyricists as La La Land, I want to say, or something like that.
I remember that something lining up with La La Land, but the La La Land.
Yeah, obviously that's Damien Chazelle and his crew.
Yeah, his dude. He works with them a lot. I forgot I think it's Justin Hurwitz.
That sounds right.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that really quick.
Let's not look it up and say it is correct. And we'll just go
I'm
with it.
Positive it is. I know. Yeah, Justin Hurwitz. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, he's the one doing the music for Chazelle's stuff. But anyway, the cast is actually a pretty good one. We got Hugh Jackman in the lead as P.T. Barnum. His wife is played by Michelle Williams. We got Zac Efron, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson. And then it falls off a little bit after that. Not a ton of other notable names.
Yeah. Abdul Mateen II.
Yeah, that's the other one I was gonna say. Have we had him on the pod before?
Yeah, he's Candyman.
He's Candyman. That's what I was about to say. I want to make sure. I was checking his IMDb to just so I was not overstepping there. And then the only other person I kind of recognized, Paul Sparks. He's in House of Cards.
Oh, okay.
That's extraneous. That's only for me. I don't know how many other people would have recognized him. He plays in House of Cards. He plays the guy that Claire Underwood has an affair with, and then in this one he plays the critic in the newspaper.
Got it.
But anyway, the IMDb summary reads as follows.
Oh no, listeners, I've lost them for a second. Don't worry, they'll be back though. There it is. You hear the sound.
Hello.
Don't
Anyway,
worry.
as I was saying,
I walked our listeners through that for us.
fantastic. Good to hear it. I'll start from the beginning. celebrates the birth of show business and tells of a visionary who rose from nothing to create a spectacle that became a worldwide sensation. Meh.
How
Yes,
does it rate?
Middle of the pack, very middle. Not the worst we've ever heard. It's like bottom of the middle.
So bottom third, middle third, bottom of the middle third.
It's in Q3. It's in Q3. So you have like Q1. It's split up into fourths. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. It's probably in the upper half of Q3.
I'm glad we've come up with this very unique and completely unpractical list or ranking system. But tell me more.
Anyway, to fill in the gaps here for you, this is about the creator, I guess, of the circus, P.T. Barnum, who, as the summary told you, starts from nothing. He's just the son of a tailor who doesn't have a lot of money. His father passes away, and he has to kind of build himself up. But when he was a kid, he fell in love, and that love stayed strong until he was able to, get himself back on his feet. And when they were older, he ends up marrying that person. Then he goes on, he swindles a loan out of a bank and decides to use his loan to start
what becomes the circus. It's a
museum.
Yeah, to start what becomes the circus.
It's a museum of oddities.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a success right at the beginning, but he grows it, he changes it, and then it becomes a success. And so it's about how he builds that circus up and goes forward with his success and builds upon that and everything that follows.
Rags to riches, tale as old as time.
Yeah, tale as old as time, I'm sure. Tyler, I'll kick it over to you, man. You're the one that suggested this. I know it's one that you've talked about. I don't know necessarily on pod how much you talked about it, but you at least mentioned in the past how much of a fan you are. So why'd you pick this for your movie?
I'm just a fan of musicals, and I think anytime you get the chance to actually do like a live action musical versus the animated stuff that you typically get from like Disney or Pixar or something like that, I think it's just really great to be able to see that side of theater. And I think it's also really cool that you get to see a lot of actors and actresses. They get to kind of go back to their roots because that's where a lot of people start. And I think it's really cool that you get to see that. And this is one of my favorites. It's always kind of been up there ever since I saw it. You just kind of get that theater magic, and it's just I'm a very musical person, and I think we've talked about this a couple different times where if you get like chills or goosebumps or something like that when you hear certain notes, your brain is wired differently as far as like how you learn and stuff like that. And I am one of those people, and there are certain notes that people hit or certain songs that I hear that do I guess we'll say touch me a little differently, or I respond to them a little bit more. And this movie in particular has quite a few that I can't help but sing or hum or just kind of sit there and close my eyes and just kind of take it in. And I thoroughly enjoy this movie. What'd you say, Nathaniel?
I said, yeah, they're catchy as shit, aren't they?
They are just
several of them are earworms. I'm watching it right now with the captions on in the background, and every time, even though that's muted, I can just hear the songs in my head ringing, echoing forever.
And obviously it's just a good movie. It's a bit of a tearjerker at points, and it gets me, and it itches a lot of scratches, or scratches a lot of itches, however you prefer to word that.
Was this anyone's first time watching this one, or had we all seen this before?
Yeah, that was my first time.
This is my first time as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it was? Yeah. Holy shit. Leah asked me that question. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure they've both seen them.
No, this is one that when it came out, I always heard good things about, but never really struck me as like, oh, I really need to go out and see this, and it was never really pressing me to go and watch this. There are things that I would watch before this. I like musicals. I don't love them and don't always go out of my way to see every single one of them. Obviously, La La Land is one of my favorite movies, so like I do like them a lot when they're good. This one personally, I liked, didn't love. It was never really It was good. I can understand why people like it so much, but this just was not my kind of musical personally. But it was still a good time overall. The songs actually, none of them were like, you say they were earworms, but for me, none of them to me were like ones that I like would want to go back
you
and listen to the
say that.
soundtrack for.
You say that though,
Uh,
but you'll wake up at 3 a.m. with "From Now On" stuck in your head, and it won't leave. You're part
I
of
haven't
this
had
now.
that happen yet. Knock on wood. But yeah, it's fine. It wasn't great for me. But I'm actually most curious to hear what Blake thinks of this.
Yeah. So as you kind of harped on, first time seeing this as well. I'm not the most knowledgeable of musicals. I think we've kind of went on record to say that. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely an interesting watch for me. One that I probably would never click myself, if it wasn't for obviously this podcast we have. But that's what we have this podcast for, so we can talk about movies and get recommended movies that aren't necessarily up our alley, right? And kind of sit and talk about them. So it was cool. I enjoyed it. I'm a big fan of Rebecca Ferguson, which I've gone on to say for Doctor Sleep, as well as the latest film. I'm already lost my train of thought. What's the one? Because she's with Hugh Jackman in it as well.
Reminiscence.
That's what it is. Thank you. Reminiscence. So I was pleasantly surprised. Like when I turned it on and I saw her, I was like, oh, that's cool. I wasn't even aware Hugh Jackman was in this movie either, to be honest with you. As well as when Zendaya comes about and everything. So
What about
yeah.
Zac Efron? I'm sure that was probably one out of the nowhere as well.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
very rare too. I don't think I've seen him since. Oh man, I think I saw like Neighbors was probably the last movie
Okay.
I saw Zac
Okay.
Efron in. So yeah, it was
That's a good one.
it was cool, man. I caught it today, so that's why I was like, yeah, 7:30 around 7:30 works better for me. So I just watched it today when I finished work, and
Nice.
yeah, it was cool. I like it. Like I said, not necessarily my alley. I don't know if I'll ever click it again, but it's not something where I'm like, oh, this was miserable. I would recommend it
Yeah, I think I'm obviously a recommend.
for sure.
Yeah, I'm so this movie's so odd to me. I enjoy it overall, I would say. I feel like there's a lot about this movie that shouldn't work that kind of does. And a lot of that I think for me is tied up in the subject matter too. Coincidentally, I also was listening to kind of a podcast about P.T. Barnum this week, and he's not a good person.
Does that change your outlook on the movie?
Not so much in like the movie itself. Like I think the movie is still just kind of like this nice story of just supposed, kind of like acceptance. But the it does change my kind of opinion on how, like, there's a choice that's made at some point, right? On like that this is the character you're going to go with, and this is the how you're going to tell the story. And I don't see any reason why they couldn't tell this story but not use the name P.T. Barnum and all of that kind of thing.
Sure.
Because he just did some bad things to a lot of stuff. Granted, it was a very, very different time, but not good things. And I think this thing works a lot in kind of a camp way. It's kind of very much elevated, and the motivations I think in a lot of ways are paper thin. Barnum really, the only reason he decides to create the circus is just because he himself is unable to accept how happy the rest of his family is with their station in life. He just has to create issues for himself, which is just kind of annoying. That's not a character motivation. That's just kind of an annoying thing that people do. But overall, it's really fun. The message or the metaphor of what it stands for in terms of acceptance is really nice, and kind of being proud of who you are and where you come from and what your place in the world is and can be. All of that's very, very nice and has a good meaning behind it. But But I think there is some places where it doesn't quite ring as true, and feels a little surface level. But overall, still a fun time, and but despite all that kind of criticism, similar to Tyler, find myself with goosebumps on my arm and kind of a smile on my face by the end of it. So it's got to be doing something right.
Here.
So you recommend then, Nathaniel?
I would be a recommend, I think. Yes.
I think I'm going to have to be the only one to say I would not recommend this on the binary scale.
Fair enough.
If someone just walked up to me and said, should I watch this? I would say no. It just, like I said, good, not great in my opinion. I think there are better things to watch, and I think there are definitely better musicals to check out than this. But it's still a good time overall. I would just say this is not my kind of favorite movie.
But you normally do like musicals, though, right?
Overall, yes, and
Right.
this just didn't hit home for me the way I was hoping it would, and I think that's okay. Not every movie is for everybody. I'm glad that a lot of people enjoy this because a lot of people do. Obviously, it's got a 7.6 on Rotten Tomatoes, on IMDb. So I can't be mad at that. I see why people enjoy this. I had a decent time with it, but didn't love it. So I believe that's going to be 3 recommends and 1 not recommend from the squadron. Here, we're going to go ahead and head into spoilers. So if you have not seen The Greatest Showman, go ahead and check the episode description where I've marked a timestamp you can jump to, which will take you to our ranking of The Greatest Showman. Hop upon the entropy list.
Hop upon.
Spoilers. Shit goes down.
Shit goes down and up in flames, which was true.
Dude.
That actually
My
happened.
question is,
Right into
and- okay, so I'm gonna have a handful of questions, fellas, just because I'm not knowledgeable of musicals, right? So is Hugh Jackman actually singing this shit?
Yeah,
He
he's a song and dance
That's
man.
awesome.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
very good at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. He can really sing.
He was actually one of those people that was like a full-blown like theater
Right.
person in his early days, and he also is in Les Mis with Russell Crowe, and he also does all of his singing in there as well. So
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
very.
that's cool. Yeah, I would have never guessed he could sing or like dance and do any of that stuff. You know what I mean? So that's
It's
that's a cool side of me to see. Go ahead, Nathaniel.
it was out of character for him to be like Wolverine. First of all, like when he was coming up, he was much more he was in Oklahoma on Broadway and all these kind of musical theater
Right.
numbers. And then he just happened to get famous playing a tough guy role, and that's what everyone knows him for. But his roots are in this kind of entertainment at the end of the day.
Yeah. That was me. I knew him from Wolverine. You know what I
Right,
mean?
exactly.
And,
It's
a
funny.
few other things, Prisoners, and it was just see this. I was like, oh wow, I never knew he could sing and dance. So yeah, that was really cool, really enlightening on my end.
any other brain busters? Excuse me.
No, not really. I really like Rebecca Ferguson though, and I say that a lot, but that was like a pleasant surprise to see her again. And like she's now got to be making her way up there as one of the most listed actors we have on this podcast because she's now in what,
She's
like 4
in
movies now.
she's in a lot
That's
of
number
them.
3, I think. I think we established Vera Farmiga's tied with someone else for 4.
Yeah,
or
for
5.
4. So,
She's
yeah,
good enough
that
there.
was
Hugh
yeah,
Jackman
man.
too. This is probably 3 as well, if not
Mhm.
4. I don't know if I'm missing a 4th, but
Michelle
So,
Williams
yeah.
is underutilized in this, which is unfortunate because
Definitely.
she's one of the best living
Which
actresses.
character was that, Nathaniel?
She plays the wife, Charity.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, she's an incredible actress.
So yeah, the cast is fucking dope, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I
really
remember at the
enjoyed
time when
all
it
that.
came out being kind of like surprised at the quality of the cast because I remember this kind of like flew under the radar and then it got really popular, particularly with a certain like I feel like subset of fans too. Like it got a huge almost cult following in some ways.
These are the people that also secretly like High School Musical and like Glee,
Sure.
and they don't want to admit it.
Right. I could see that.
But I think it color wise, it's really fun. It's a fun movie. With that overall, I like the visuals of kind of the New York that they decide to go with. You can tell it's a little bit CGI, but it's still kind of a fun version that they go with. Kind of that turn of the century style. As we've kind of all been talking about, I think all the performances are pretty good. I think for me, like the biggest kind of criticisms I have with it is just it just feels a little bit by the numbers. And I think that it is, and I say that in the way that, like, as I was referencing earlier, his kind of problems are all just not really problems. They're just him being an idiot, kind of thing. Like they just exist because the story says that you have to have kind of a problem. You know what I mean? Sorry, Tyler, what'd you say?
I was agreeing with you.
Okay. And yeah, I think it doesn't feel kind of organic in some of that ways. And like, in some ways that's a little bit comforting, too. I think it's just a nice distraction. It's very easy to kind of fall into the world and just enjoy your time, but it doesn't really have that next level punch, I think, in some ways.
Makes sense. Adam?
Yeah, I can't really point to one thing that I don't love about this. Just like I said before, I didn't necessarily particularly enjoy any one song. I mean, when I finished like La La Land or Hamilton, like those are musicals where I could go and just listen to the soundtrack on repeat and learn all the songs and kind of relive that movie through the soundtrack. This is one where I just don't want to do that with at all. I just didn't love any of the songs. The choreography and the songs and how they were sung was really fun, and I think that was really well put together. But for me, when the music and a musical doesn't work, the musical just kind of falls apart. And I think that would probably be it for everyone. And it sounds like for me, the music just didn't hit as well as it did for other people. But overall, like I definitely agree with Nathaniel. As I was watching this, I'm like, he's doing this to himself. There isn't really any kind of external factor, I don't necessarily agree with where his character goes because and he ends up identifying with that group of outcasts, and he does in the beginning and does it in the middle and then does at the end. But to me, when you see his origin, that is such a strong feeling of where he comes from, feeling like an outcast, that he should feel that way all the way through. And I understand the ambition to where he wants to get out of that, but I don't know. That's kind of the whole point of the movie, is that he realizes that he'll never kind of outgrow that. But I don't know. Just didn't work on all cylinders for me. It's decent time, but not great. I don't really have a ton of like things I can point to. I was watching this movie and I was like, hey, this is fine. I hope that doesn't offend anyone.
I love it.
Yeah, Tyler, come to bat for us here.
Just the choreography I thought worked really well. I do like how they incorporate like the footsteps and everything, like the stomps that they do while they're dancing is incorporated into the music, and that kind of builds on your bass and everything like that. I thoroughly enjoy the little interactions that you get with kind of everybody versus just the big show portion of it. When Zendaya and Zack have their little thing, it's very romantic. I think it's very cute and full of like, what people actually chase for is, they look for love, and sometimes you find it in the weirdest places or where you didn't expect it. And at that point in time, it was very taboo for him to date somebody so far out of his status. And it just, it goes, it's the full message is basically what Nathaniel had already said, acceptance, and Adam kind of hit on it a little bit, even though he didn't really realize it. But money and fame changes people, and the reason that he falls into that is because it's all about human nature. We cause stupid problems and stress for ourselves because we think other people give a shit, and this kind of just shows that it doesn't really matter. And it's about family and love, and you can change the status if you want to change it. You just got to want it bad enough. And I just love it. And I think as far as my favorite scene goes, it's probably got to be with Hugh and Zack in the bar.
That's exactly
And,
what I was gonna say too.
They're ripping shots and having a good
Yeah.
time and making a deal. And yeah, it's just it's all really, really great for me. So suck on that.
I think I'd agree with you for sure. I think that was my favorite scene as well.
Mine too. I would definitely
Okay,
say.
so I guess that's just notoriously held as one of the better scenes then, right?
It is one of the most other iconic scenes that a lot of people look at is the Rebecca Ferguson scene where it's just her on stage, and that's actually a demo that we use quite frequently at work, and it's very well mixed, and it's one of those things that just kind of blows you away, and you kind of feel like you're in the auditorium with them, and you're just kind of at awe when that's kind of going down.
Which is not actually her voice, where they use they use Hugh Jackman's voice in most of this, but they don't actually use Rebecca's for that one, unfortunately.
Okay, interesting.
She looks like she's singing it.
She sells it.
She's very vascular in her neck area. So this looks like Adam stated via GroupMe. This looks wonderful on 4K UHD streaming on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that is a good scene. I really like the lighting in that scene as well. The Never Enough scene.
Yeah, I like this whole movie, man. I think it's great. It's a feel good movie for me, and
there's
the songs do stick with me.
I think the actors do a really great job elevating too. There's like I really like the bit earlier where Jackman's talking with his kids, and he's got the like magic lantern, and he kind of gives them this whole story about how like it's found on a pirate treasure ship and stuff, and you can see him kind of using his marketing skills for good for once at the start of the movie, and like that was really, really nice and a nice character beat too, and just was goes, you know, they're trying to be clever about, you know, getting you on Jackman's side in a lot of this one, because let's be honest, there's a way of reading this where Barnum is doesn't come off super great.
Facts.
You know, in terms of not exploiting people with disabilities.
People for money.
Yeah. For money. But, you know, it's also a good time, too. Anyone else have favorite songs? Yeah. I think the Never Enough song's the one that's the showstopper, whereas it's like kind of designed to be in the movie, it seems like, too.
Mm.
Yeah, that's definitely out there. I really thoroughly enjoy. For me, the movie really grabs me at that bar scene. So I
think a good one too.
That's probably gonna just ever so slightly beat Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with the bar scene one. But Nathaniel, is the Never Enough song, is that only your favorite because it's a Best Buy demo?
Yes, all the time. No, that's just the one
if anything, it's going against it.
Yeah, I hear it too much, to be honest with you. No, but it's still just one of those ones that like I get the goosebumps kind of thing. You know, at certain points in that song for sure. Least favorite song, definitely the Zendaya Zac Efron romantic fall in love one. I just forget about it every time that it's actually in the movie, and it just doesn't really grab me at all.
Yeah, I feel like that one's a little bit more about the choreography and still trying to be like,
that's pretty cool. Yeah. How do you feel about the freaks in this one? They seem a little bit like there's definitely like the three kind of main ones, and then they're just like, you're a person with long hair and you're wearing different colored clothes.
You have a lot of
yeah.
That guy clearly has a fake leg.
Yeah.
What'd you say,
That's
Tyler?
one thing I said. You clearly have a fake third leg. That's definitely one I didn't notice until after a couple of watches, and I was like, "Wait, what the fuck?" I'm like, that's clearly just a leg sewn onto that guy's pants.
That guy's just standing next to another man that looks somewhat like him.
Are you talking about the two like white-haired dudes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always like, wait, is that the first guy or is that the second guy?
To be albinos? That one, the bearded lady, she's great at singing. I think her name's Letty in in the actual show?
In the movie, it's Letty Lutz.
Letty Lutz. I don't like the scene where they all, for some reason, gain like fighting abilities, and like the world's heaviest man like belly flops a guy through through a wall, and then like the tattoo guy like jumps up in the air. It all reminds me of like X-Men Last Stand for some reason.
Yeah. Beast.
Yeah, exactly.
Jumping like that 25 yards.
That felt a step too far. I mean, it's a very stylized movie for sure as well, and like seems to like almost recognize it's like it feels in some ways like a theater adaptation. Like it could also work for the stage too in some ways. Sure. Which is weird, but maybe that comes from the kind of like director's background too, and kind of commercials and music videos and that kind of thing too. But
I'd rather watch School of Rock the musical. Just saying.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, overall, you know, I still like this movie. There are some. I don't love it, but there's some goofy things about it. But overall, it's still a good time, I think.
Yeah. Don't hate it, just don't love it.
Yeah, I don't need to ever watch it again.
Yeah, I don't think I will either.
Yeah, I certainly won't. That's not a slide to tie by any means, but it to me it's just really interesting that Adam doesn't like, because I just kind of figured this is more up Adam's alley. You know what I mean?
No, he likes musicals that rap, bro.
Yeah, because there's so much rapping in La La Land.
Sorry, rapper jazz, cool guy jazz.
Fair enough.
Right.
You got me
So
there.
then, what would you call this type of musical then? I mean, I'm sure there's like subgenres to musicals then, right? For the most part.
This feels very much more musical theater than like
Okay.
your Hollywood musical in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's almost like a throwback to some old Hollywood musicals too. It exists in a very weird space.
It does.
Gotcha.
I would say the music feels like a modern musical, but the like rest of it, the choreography feels like a throwback in some ways.
Yeah. I could agree with that for sure. All right, do we have any closing thoughts here and spoilers, guys?
No, I've said my piece.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for spoilers here. So welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and rank The Greatest Showman up upon the Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. This is essentially how we rate our movies, rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is. We go ahead and rank all our movies up upon one list and see how they compare to one another. If you'd like to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd. Entry number 71 upon the Entropy list. Is this the first musical? I don't want to say it is, but it might be.
Would Blind Spotting technically count?
I don't want to say yes.
No, yeah. I wouldn't say so.
Would a Your Name or a Weathering with You be closer to a musical?
Definitely
Yes.
not. No,
really?
Those are not musicals.
I mean,
I would disagree.
Those are not musicals.
I just don't think we have anything on here. Unless you're counting animated like
they
Disney
do
stuff,
not
but I really don't
sing
count those.
along to the songs. Your Name and Weathering with You are no different
I
than any
guess.
other movie that has a soundtrack in it.
I guess true.
What about Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
That would probably be the closest thing.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Definitely not.
It has songs in it.
I would prefer Jason Segel singing about how he needs to go see a therapist over any of the songs in this movie.
I want a psychiatrist. I'm not going.
All right. So, I'm going to throw it over to
Tokyo
you,
Drift has a
birthday-
song called Tokyo Drift in it. Sorry.
Okay. I'm going to throw it over to the birthday boy. Let's get his ranking out of the way so we can all get more realistic rankings.
Wow.
I'll probably be I don't want to say a little higher, but I'm definitely going to be higher than you guys. But I'm not going to like shoot for the moon here, because I do know like what this is and I know what's
gotcha.
above it and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I would probably, for me, just because I would rather watch this than some of the other movies below this, 46.
46. So you're looking at below Army of the Dead, above Mom Rainey's Black Bottom.
Okay. Okay.
Better. That means it's better than Candyman, Mortal Kombat,
Oof,
Godzilla vs.
yeah.
Kong, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and A Quiet Place Part 2, and above
Trick or
one of
treat.
Ty's favorite movies on this
Yeah.
list, Trick or Treat.
I was looking at that, and the only reason it's going above that is because I think Trick or Treat should just be higher. But
Yeah, that is pretty low. I'll give you that.
All right, 46 from Tyler. Nathaniel is the only other person to watch this movie before watching it for the review. Where are you going?
52.
52. So that's going to be below A Quiet Place Part 2 and above Godzilla King of Monsters.
Yes, and if
Not
I
bad.
had
if we slotted in at one, doesn't it push that movie back?
Am I saying it wrong?
I think so, because if I were to put it at 46, I think it would push Army of the Dead to 47.
Correct.
yes,
You're
yeah, that's
correct.
how
So-
I was
yeah.
anticipating.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a bit of a brain fart on my end. So 46 would be below Blind Spotting and above Army of the Dead. 52 would be below Forgetting Sarah Marshall and above A Quiet Place Part 2. Above A Quiet Place Part 2. That one's a tough one for me. Because
Yeah.
as low as A Quiet Place Part 2 is on this list and is not as good as it is as its original, it's still a good movie for me. I still liked it a lot.
Yeah, I think it's. I agree. I think I truly feel like they're about the same, and I think yeah, I think I'd rather watch this for the most part.
Okay.
I would have a tougher time with Trick or Treat than I would with A Quiet Place Part 2, but
Sure.
Yeah, no, that's where I've got it. 40
Fair
or
enough.
52.
Fair enough. All right, Blake, as my fellow first-time viewer, I'm very curious to see where you're putting this. Because not going to lie, I was watching this movie and it finished. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Blake is going to hate this movie. But I'm glad you liked it at least.
It was cool. I think Rebecca Ferguson saved me
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, I'll give you my ranking. Mine's easy, man. I'm gonna push it at 56.
56.
yeah.
So below Wonder Woman and above F9.
Yeah, I fucking hate F9, and I think Wonder Woman's an okay movie, so I can live with that. And then I'm big on Trick or Treat. I'm big on Godzilla King of the Monsters as well. So a little more up my alley though. So that's
Sure.
easy. Yeah, I can
Interesting.
say it. What are you thinking? You're probably somewhere
think-
around there. I don't want to influence you.
I am.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm going to go ahead and do 58.
Okay.
So below Reminiscence and above The Tomorrow War. Because it's a right around that F9 quality for me. And then once you hit Trick or Treat and those movies above them, those are good movies for me. Everything below Trick or Treat are like subpar-ish. Besides F9, I did have fun with F9, but it's still not a great movie. And this kind of fits right around there. And then when I kind of put it up against Reminiscence, didn't love that movie either. Rebecca Ferguson and Hugh Jackman again, but I would honestly probably rather watch Reminiscence again than I'd rather watch this movie. So
Another
that's gonna be
fun-
58 for me.
Fun fact about the Entropy list, is that Godzilla King of the Monsters and Trick or Treat are both directed by Michael Dougherty. And I think that's the only place on the list where a director has directed the two different movies that they show up right next to each other.
Really?
Very interesting.
He also shows up in that 100 Scariest Movie Moments video I was talking about earlier on the podcast as well, too. Shout out Michael Dougherty. But
Yeah, shout out Michael Dougherty. And funny enough, on Godzilla King of the Monsters, what I've come across a ton on YouTube lately is somehow someone is posting a ton of the Godzilla clips without like the background music.
Oh,
and
really?
The clips are so much better without the score
Really?
to it. Yeah.
Huh.
So It's interesting. You could see that Ghidorah. Even they have some of the ones with Godzilla vs Kong as well.
What about
Without the background music,
what
it's
about
good.
this like the main theme song? They're like
No, they've removed it all, so you can like really
Wow.
hear everything, like
Like
from
all
the
the
film.
sound
So you
editing?
can hear like the breathing from
Gotcha.
Godzilla and stuff
Okay,
like that.
that's
You know what I mean?
cool.
It's just,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really intense to hear stuff like that.
Okay, that's cool.
You'll have to put that in the group.
Yeah,
I wanna check
I'll
that
link
out.
it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Adam. Rank this one for us. Where are we evening out on here?
The
Oh, I did the-
average
I
is
think he
I
said
did the
58.
maths. I did the maths. It's gonna be 53. If you average it out.
Above King of the Monsters, of course.
Above King of the Monsters.
Just what we were just talking about.
Of course. It is what it is. Lock it in.
Everyone cool with that?
Yeah, I think if we go to the tiebreaker system, I think this is what a
I think,
7.5 on IMDb.
7.6 still comes out.
Yeah.
Cool with me.
All right.
As soon
Well
as
then.
Nathaniel had the fun fact, we shit on it.
You're
2
right.
minutes later.
Well, there you have it. The Greatest Showman locked in at number 53 on the Entropy list. That's going to do it here for our review. Next week's review, it would be helpful if I had pulled that up earlier, but it is just a few clicks away. We're going to go ahead and be watching Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Ooh.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
excited for this one, fellas. Not gonna lie.
Venom.
What an awful, awful song. Like, horrendously bad.
I want like the jazz singer version, like Venom. Oh, Venom.
I don't think you're going to be able to watch this streaming. I think it might be theaters only. I'm trying to check on that right now.
I'm gonna have to rewatch the first one.
I have to watch the first one.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I was
another
gonna
one.
ask,
On my
if you
what
guys
we're
plan
watching.
on that.
I forgot this week. I watched the original Evil Dead last night.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
From the 80s? What is that, like 80, 86 or something
Yeah,
like that?
somewhere in there. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the Evil Dead trilogy, and then Waz just got the Evil Dead series like on Blu-ray too. So I think we're gonna work through that this October too. So
Ooh,
That's great.
Okay.
bit of sizzle
Well,
there.
if you need the remake, I have it on Vudu. You can let me
Ooh,
know.
I
I'll
definitely
shoot you
want to
a
watch
login.
that too. Yeah.
Yep, I'll shoot you a login.
All right. Well, as far as I can tell, it will be in theaters only here. So yeah, go ahead, check that out. Join us for our review next week. Another fun superhero flick, I'm sure. Tom Hardy, this is entry, I think maybe only number 2. The other one being Inception. I can't think of anything else he's in on.
I think you're right. Yeah, we don't have Mad Max Fury Road on here.
We don't have any of the.
We don't have
He's in
any
Dunkirk.
Yeah,
He's
he
in Dunkirk.
is. Yeah, you're right. He's
Dunkirk,
the pilot.
Inception.
Oh, Dunkirk, yeah. So I guess this will be his 3rd.
Yeah, I'm
Alright.
excited for this one though.
Good deal.
I'm curious to know how to be. We'll see if it's better than the first.
Where is the first one streaming? I'm gonna look it up
Nowhere,
right now.
dude. No,
Yeah.
I think I might just purchase it.
Someone's
So
Voodoo
if I do,
account.
I'll shoot you the login.
Yeah, it's not streaming
Own
anywhere.
it. So if there's a digital copy in there, I'll just send that to you, Blake, and then you can throw it on your Voodoo.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just keep me updated.
Yeah, keep me posted on that one, boys. But listeners, it looks like it's available to rent on like Apple TV, Amazon Prime, all those places, but not streaming for free anywhere. So if you want to go ahead and give that a rewatch or watch the first time in preparation for the sequel, go ahead and do that there. What's up next here? Nathaniel, do we have any 5-star reviews?
No 5-star reviews, but if you do want to give us a 5-star review, do it in app on Apple Podcast. We see the stats. We know most of you listen through Apple Podcasts, so please continue to do so and give us a 5-star review. If you do so, I will read it out on the podcast, or any of us might read it out. Just don't be evil. You can say whatever you want. It can be fun. It can be mean. It could be a fun fact. It could be a mean fact or a weird fact, I guess, too. Whatever fact you want to give us. Just got to be 5 stars. Otherwise, I won't do it. Won't happen. But, Adam, do we have any emails or anything like that this week?
Fortunately, we do not.
Ooh.
So If you've already given your 5-star review and you still want to contribute to the show in some way, send us an email. Let us know what you think of the show. Any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, anything like that. Any banter questions you have for us to talk about at the end of the show. We kind of like finishing these off the couple times that we have with a viewer or listener writing in and asking us a question. If you ask us a question, also answer it. General rule of thumb there.
That's the truth.
But yeah, give us some things to talk about. We love doing that. So send us an email our way at backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. And then while you're doing that, share the podcast, share with a friend, family member, a fellow circus member. Who else, Nathaniel?
If you just happen to walk down the street and you feel a calling or an urge to break into song, anyone that is around you that breaks into song with you, tell them to listen to the podcast. You're all going to want to hear this. We have a lot of really important information for you. It's just on the next episode, so you'll just have to listen and wait for that.
For an eternity.
Yeah. But it's
Nice.
coming.
All right. And then follow the show. You can do so on Twitter at Banter Row. That's where we're sending you all the updates on things about the show, like how last week and this week's episode were delayed by a day. You get those updates on Twitter first, so follow us there at Banter Row. You can follow us on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and on YouTube, it's just Back Row Banter. Blake, where can the people find you at, my man?
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there. I'm jotting some stuff down. So, like I said, I've been pretty faithful on there of logging every time I watch something. So I feel like I'm doing good on that. Then, as I always note, if there's anything that really catches my attention, I'll be sure to put down some notes. So yeah, we'll see. I'm heavily anticipating Antlers and Halloween Kills.
Yes.
So I think I might be able to put some facts down or put some thoughts down on there. And that'll be it for me. Let's go back to Adam.
Oh, hey guys, I'm back. You can find me on Twitter at Aish24 and on Letterboxd at Aish. That's really all I've got. Nathaniel, what do you got?
What up, folks? You can find me on Letterboxd and Twitter at NSGingrich. You can check me out on Instagram at NathanielG92. Follow my other podcast. Check it out. It's called The Sandpiper Tapes. You can find that on Instagram and Twitter and on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. Season 2 coming out. We're shooting for the last weekend in October, so a nice little binge right before Halloween, hopefully. Yeah. So it's going to be a 3-episode season, like I said, I think last week. So be on the lookout for that.
Definitely. I'll be ready.
Sorry, who's next? Who do I got left?
Just me.
Tyler? Just you, just Tyler. Happy birthday.
Just me.
Bring us home.
Thanks, dog. I Twitch sometimes. I've been doing it more frequently, so hopefully we'll get a little bit more on a regular schedule for that. That is twitch.tv/El Trabajo, ELTRABAJO 87. And my Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter are all Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES. Also, there's a good chance we'll probably have to push next week's episode to Tuesday as well, because I will be out of town for a wedding.
Congrats to the newlyweds, whomever you are.
So yeah, that'll be that'll probably show up on Twitter at some point, just for the heads up.
Bit of sizzle.
All right, I think that's gonna do it for episode 72, The Greatest Showman. Join us next week for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Thank you all for listening.
Venom.
We'll be RB.
Hey, be excellent to each other out there, folks. We will be RB.
Thanks for listening by.
Oh yeah.
Can you get the bunch? Do you have that?
Just played it.
Perfect. Yeah, we appreciate anything that you can do to help us grow. Obviously, that's what we want to do. We have been doing this for over a year now, and we love it. And we're still going, and we don't have any plans on stopping. So we appreciate the love and anything that you can do to help us grow. Other than that, just accept people. You know, you never know where they're gonna be at in their life or what they're doing, and sometimes it's okay. So yeah, that's all I got. We'll BRB.
Thanks for listening. We appreciate the love and support as always. Don't have too much this week. Stay positive. Keep pushing throughout the week. Hopefully everybody has an excellent hump day when this is released. as well as continuing on Positivity Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday till we re-listen to the podcast again. Thanks a lot. Take care.
America. Ready for another lesson.
I'm back.
Right. That was right on key, Ty.
Thanks, Doc.
That 31-year-old voice still going strong.
Did any of you guys ever break a bone? Have we done this? Have we had this talk on the
I've not.
podcast?
I don't know.
I don't know.
If we what?
Broken a bone. I'm assuming
Broken
Ty
a
has.
bone.
Yeah, Ty
fingers
feels
and
like he
toes,
has.
nothing major. And most of the time it was during like some kind of sporting event, so you don't really do anything for like fingers and
Right.
toes anyways. So
Right.
I'm pretty sure I like they call it like a twist fracture.
Mm,
And I've had one of those on my ribs before, but again, ribs is something that you don't do anything for. So
Justin feels like he's had to have broken a bone or something at some point.
I feel like that's because he's like malnourished. He doesn't like take care of his body.
I
And,
just
like, I don't think
imagine
I've
him,
ever
like-
seen him really drink like milk, so I don't know if he's like actually like if his bones are strong enough.
I just imagine him falling out of a tree at like age 8 or something.
Broken ankle.
I actually don't know if he's ever broken like a major bone or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, I didn't. I've never
Yeah.
broken anything either, besides
Yeah, no,
my head.
me either. I'm surprised. I've been playing athletics my whole life, so yeah, I've never really done anything that dislocated fingers and stuff. But I mean, as to Ty's point, like that's
Right.
nowhere near as serious, right? That you just like pop that back in. But yeah, never broken leg, arm, anything.
Adam?
Thankfully.
I've not.
Yeah, me either.
Um,
I feel like that just like.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I feel like that just means that like all of us are gonna like fall when we're like 75, or like we'll like sit down on something too hard and just like break a hip. Like that's what that means, you
Yeah.
know? Like it
I
comes
was
out at
actually
some point.
Talking to my buddy the other day about that, I was like, that's just like one of my worst. I guess maybe not worst fears now, but like I would hate to be like in on like crutches or in a boot or something now, like at this age, not playing any sports and
Right.
still having to like go to work and stuff. I mean, that just sounds terrible.
Just having to
You know
live
what I
your
mean?
daily life.
Yeah, like I'm like, no way, dude. I don't want that to happen at all.
Adam, what were you saying? Closest you'd ever come was?
In like the 6th grade, I collided with a catcher going into home plate and like hyperextended my knee and basically sprained my kneecap.
Classic. Yeah, I sprained an ankle
Yeah.
once. Pretty
Your
bad.
patella? Or no, that's not your
Ooh.
patella. Is that your patella?
I think.
What
so.
about weirdest
I think your
injury you
kneecap's
guys ever had?
patella.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ty. Go ahead.
No, I'm just rambling.
Weirdest injury.
Yeah, because like for example, you said you basically sprained your kneecap. Like that's something that's not super common.
Yeah.
I've
It was
stepped on
like-
a nail.
Oh,
Ooh, how was that? That sounds terrible.
Oh, it was.
like-
It
like
was.
a quiet play style.
Pretty much.
Oh, fucking
But it was like
Man.
more or less through like my heel, not necessarily like the flatter part of like the ball of my foot.
Were you an adult?
No.
Okay.
No, we were we had like a tree house between me and my one of my childhood friends' houses. He lived in like the subdivision behind us, and it was like unincorporated behind our house, so there was like little trees and stuff left. So that's where we would like meet because our parents were like, all right, whatever, it's like the halfway point. So you guys can like build a little fort and everything back here. And so we had a sweet ass tree house, and one day we were going up, and the boards we nailed to the side of the tree was like our ladder, and on the way up, it fell down, and they were like, "Oh my god, what are we gonna do?" And I was like, "I'll fix it later. Don't worry about it." And so I jumped off the latest ladder rung that you could, and
Right.
I landed right on the piece that had fallen off earlier, and
damn.
the nail went right into the foot. I had to walk to the front door of my house with it in my foot.
Oh,
How was the removal process of that?
There's really not a whole lot you
Set of
can do. 'Cause
pliers
the
and
hole's
just-
not big enough for stitches or anything like that. So, We actually just took it out, and then I soaked my foot in iodine per doctor's orders, and then I went in for a tetanus shot, even though they were pretty sure I was okay with my last ones, but they just gave me another one just in case. And that was pretty much it.
I think I remember mine was I had just gotten my learner's permit, and I was getting in the truck for like the first time to like go like driving, or one of the first times I was gonna say. And I was just like looking around at all the controls and everything and all the different buttons that were there. And I pressed the cigarette lighter in, and I went to like, and it was in there for like 2 or 3 seconds. And so I popped it back out again. And when I popped it out, it came all the way out, and I caught it. And when I caught it, my thumb landed on the top of the cigarette lighter. And so I burned like a perfect semicircle into my thumb and like lost my fingerprints and blistered up for like 3 weeks on my thumb. But that was about it.
Yeah. Oh, man. And that sounds just as bad.
Blake, do you have any bad football injuries?
Nothing crazy bad. I guess the oddest injury I ever came across is I like severely bruised my tailbone before, like falling obviously on my ass really hard. And that is terrible, dude. Like,
Yeah.
How did you?
Yeah.
What did you fall? Just like going up for a ball, like just land.
So I went up for a ball, and then I got hit like in the legs. So
Got
like, my
it.
legs went up, and then I came down pretty much like on my back and on my butt. But that injury was so bad, dude. Like from like sitting down, like laughing, talking would hurt. Like just odd things that you wouldn't pick up, and that was so bad for like 2 weeks. Well, yeah, that was the oddest thing. I like slept on my stomach all the time. I didn't really want to like laugh or talk much. That was rough, man.
Everything is rooted in the tailbone.
Yeah, surprisingly, dude.
We don't even need the tailbone. That's the worst part of it. That's like landing on your tailbone is like one of the most painful things ever.
Oh man, yeah.
And it's so useless.
What about you, Adam? You got a goofy injury? I guess you said you had the kneecap joint, right?
Yeah, the kneecap would probably be the closest thing. I mean, that's probably my biggest injury I've really had.
Tennis elbow.
Tennis elbow, that's a bitch.
Carpal tunnel.
Yeah, carpal tunnel. I mean,
that's your wrist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever had anything like super weird happen.
Yeah, we've all been fortunate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
sounds
I've got
like it.
plenty of friends who have anything, broken a collarbone, forearm, anything, hand.
Yeah, one of my fraternity brothers a couple weeks ago, he was like blackout drunk. We got him to bed because he lives at the house. Got him to bed. We were like, oh, he's all good. Apparently, like, he woke up an hour and a half, 2 hours later, still basically blacked out drunk, decided he was going to go to a girl's place, hopped on his bike. There's like a somewhat busy road next to our house. And he got hit by a car trying to cross it. He got really fucked up.
Jesus.
Oh no.
Yeah, like broke his arm, scraped. He's got like a scar along his chin now because he like basically cut this open right here.
Yeah.
Pretty bad stuff.
Oh man. Well, hopefully he gets well soon. That's pretty serious for sure, and unfortunate to hear.
I mean, he's already back up and good. Like I said, this happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it wasn't anything like it wasn't it wasn't life ending or anything like that. He'll make pretty much full recovery, which is good. But we were all just like, man, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's tough.
All right, you boys ready to get this started?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get on a little lighter note.
If you've been injured, would you go to the circus?
We're about to find out.